I have 8 different bosses right now.
I beg your pardon?
What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the is wrong with you people?
Alright, YouTube, we are back, baby. Yo, check out this dude's mud flap. He's got like no mud flap on one side and like mud flap coming off on the other. Sucks. Anyways. Oh, I know it's been a while since I made any videos. I've actually made content video or recorded videos. I just haven't sat down and made them into videos because there's pieces I'm missing and I haven't gotten around to making them yet. So I was gonna do that, and then that I'm gonna talk about today kicked off. So one thing about me is I am a government employee. I work technically for the Department of Defense as a civilian. I'm also in the reserves on the Air Force. That's not what I'm talking about today, though. What I'm going to talk about, and I don't normally, this channel is not normally going to be political, but this is something that's been going around the news, and there's a lot of shit that's been going down with it lately, and maybe by the time I've posted this video, there will be more clarity for the American people. But it's about the email that went out for OPM from the Doge team that we have to respond with 5 bullets.
What you do at Initech is you take the specifications from the customers and you bring them down to the software engineers.
Yes, that's right.
Well, then I just have to ask, why couldn't the customers just take them directly to the software people, huh?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because engineers are not good at dealing with customers.
So you physically take the specs from the customer?
Well, no, my secretary does that, or the fax.
So then you must physically bring them to the software people.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the goddamn customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people? Hey.
Okay. So this is the email. I'm going to post it right here. That's a copy of the email. Obviously, I've blurred out any of contact information and stuff like that. So that's a copy of the email that got sent out. And then, literally, the end of the day, Monday, well, not the end of the day. So during business hours, but like the end of the business hour day, Monday, a memorandum from the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force went out, and I'm going to post that there, and I'm going to blur out any important information. So that memorandum went out, and basically what that memorandum states is, talks about how, okay, yeah, it's fine that the people that did this right away did respond. No big deal. If you responded, they don't care. Good for you, whatever. However, the Department of Defense has their own form of tracking this information that they're actually trying to gather for the OPM. It's not about productivity of work. It's literally like a what was the terminology one of my coworkers used? It's a
I think that email perhaps was best interpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review.
It's basically they're just making sure that these emails and these employees are still active employees. So so there's that portion of it that we got this email from our leadership, from the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force, saying, do not respond. If you've already responded, no big deal, but we're doing our own thing. So a bunch of DoD employees aren't responding to this. Well, and then I guess Musk went in there and said, hey, we're going to extend the deadline. If you don't reply, it's termination. Well, one, first of all, they can't do that. There's an executive order stating that performance-based terminations, which is what this would technically fall under, come from the department heads, not from above. Two, there's a chain of command issue, because anybody that's worked with the Department of Defense knows that there's a chain of command. Everything trickle down, orders trickle down, orders or requests trickle up. Like there's processes that has to go through. If one person violates the chain of command, it allows opens up everyone to violate. Another big issue with this is if you look at the styling of emails, that OPM email looks like a phishing scheme. It's very bare bones, very basic, literally just typed out. No official directive, no no letterhead, no signatures, no nothing. It's just, hey, send us these bullets and CC your supermarket. Okay, super sketchy. The first time I even seen that email, I went, well, this literally looks like something that some Chinese hacker could have hacked into or created a fake email and sent it out to a bunch of government employees. Like, it looks so unofficial, like absolutely unofficial. And then I'm getting this actual memorandum from the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force that actually is official, and it's got an actual signature on it that's sent out and sent through the proper channels. So from my perspective, the memorandum, which looks more official and has actual signatures and names on it, is the one I'm going to follow. And I had people questioning my idea behind that, and I'm like, look, even if they turn around and say, hey, send that email, I've got it drafted. Like, I have no problem sending it, but I'm not going to, because I'm being told by my leadership not to. And another video that came out probably about an hour and a half before I started filming this, maybe a little bit more, was from our press secretary. Well, not our press, Donald Trump's press secretary. And in that video, and I'll play a clip right now.
And Doge came up with this idea. Elon has implemented this at his private companies. It has proven successful. And it's a very simple idea when you think about it. All the Office of Personnel Management is asking, all this administration is asking, President Trump is asking, is for federal workers who live off of the American taxpayer's dime to send 5 bullet points of what they have done in the previous week. That is all we are asking for. And so the Office of Personnel and Management sent out additional guidance last night. Those responses should be directed to agency leadership, and the president defers to his cabinet secretaries, who he's obviously entrusted to pursue the guidance relative to their specific workforce. And for some of the agencies that you've seen who have said, please don't send these emails, it's in their best interest for that specific agency, and the president supports that. And
so there you have it. In that video, she literally states that it's up to the department heads, really, to how they want to manage this. So that email basically is not going to apply to you. Any DoD employee is basically, I wouldn't say exempt from this. It's just we have our own way of doing what Elon is trying to do, and we do it on a regular basis. It's not as rudimentary as this, and it's not as fast-paced either. It's a process. However, it is a proper legal established process that we've had for years. So, I mean, basically we're fine. I also did get word that from my from one of my union stewards, it's male, so it's steward, that there was a meeting held at our base from the top civilian at our base, and he basically said exactly what the president's press secretary, I'm drawing a blank on her name. I literally just watched that video on YouTube. I'm horrible with names. But basically they just emphasized on what she said, and it was basically, it comes down to the department heads. The DoD has their own way of tracking this. We do not have to apply to that email. Don't worry about it. Which is great. Not in the sense that, like, oh, it's great that I don't have to comply with this order. I actually agree with what they're trying to do. I just, that the way they're doing that is not the proper way to do it. Plus, this opens up an entire can of security issues, like operational security issues. Because if you've ever been through any kind of operational security training, one of the biggest things they talk about is pieces of information. So, like, if somehow these emails were to get out on public servers and be open to the general public to read, that means our foreign adversaries could get a hold of them. They could literally piece together, okay, well, these people know this and at this place, and okay, so now that's a target. So it really opens up a can of worms that I feel like that's a huge issue. And basically just look at that email. Like, it literally looks like it's completely unofficial. So I mean, it raises a lot of huge red flags when it comes to, from a operational security standpoint. Like, hold up. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it is what it is. I'm not too worried about my job. I've been around long enough to where I'm not on a probationary status. Where I work are critically manned. We've actually been fighting for more manning for a long time, guy. So yeah, our shop is already critically manned. So I'm not too worried about me personally, my job. But there are other people that we work with in other jobs and other facilities that are like, they're new, or they're not really new, but they transferred that put them into a status that is considered new. So like one of the guys in our shop, he transferred to our shop. It took one of the temp slots. So he had to quit his old job, actually turn in his resignation paperwork, and then get hired on in our position. It wasn't like a, hey, I'm just transferring over to something. It was a really way that they did it. I don't know why they did it that way, because like all of his stuff carried over. Like all his retirement, his time, all that stuff still carried over. So he still reflects as an employee, adding on to the years that he was an employee. So I don't know why, but that would have technically put him in a probationary status. Luckily, that deadline's passed and he's no longer in that 1-year deadline when all this stuff came down. So, not really worried about that part. But that was something we've had other people that's happened to them. Like people that go for another position, hey, a job just opened up, I'm going to transfer, or I'm going to move to that position, but they have to relinquish their other position and move to that position. When they transfer like that, they're put on a probationary status. And that's what this is talking about. Like, they're talking about, oh, we're going to cut all these probationary status employees. Well, hold on. These employees filled a vacancy. They're not probationary because they were in trouble. They're probationary because they filled a vacancy and they're new in that position. So, how are you going to justify firing a blanket firing of all probationary? You can't. And that's what the DoD has been fighting to get exemptions. We like to call them waivers in the Air Force. We call them there's a waiver for everything. Actually, it's like a military thing in general. But they're trying to get exemptions for blanket exemptions for DoD was what they were first trying. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think they'll be able to do like critically manned or minimum staffing career fields might be able to get away with that. I don't really know. Like I said, what they're doing is good. How they're going about doing it is not going to work on a government level. There's so many other ways to cut government spending rather than hurting employees. What is that? Is that a Gixxer? I think it was a Gixxer. I saw a big red R on the side. And it's ultimately going to hurt our efficiency and our mission overall. Bringing everybody back has really hurt congestion issues where I'm at. The base infrastructure was basically they were remodeling a bunch of stuff. One of the buildings that's like been trying to get people back, they literally had it completely gutted, and they were remodeling and repurposing that entire building. And then they're like, oh, hey, everybody has to come back. Well, these people have no office to go back to. Their office is gone. It's an open building. And when I mean open, I mean like completely gutted building that was being repurposed. There's been a big rush in like our construction side of our career fields, so like structures who build walls and electrical running the power and stuff. The contractors that make cubes that put up cubicles and stuff, they've been busting their asses basically. Getting facilities and offices established for these, office workers that have been working from home that no longer have an office. And actually, there's still people at Right Pat that haven't returned because there's nowhere for them to go. They don't have a space, and we can't just like cram them into another building somewhere. Like that's not gonna work. So yeah, there's literally still people being told, hey, don't come back to work, and then they're like, well, I'm worried I'm gonna get fired. They're not gonna get fired. Everything that they're doing, and when it comes to the Department of Defense, now I don't know about these other programs like USAID and Department of Education, all of them. When it comes to the Department of Defense, it all trickles down through chain of command. So there are going to be exceptions for situations. But as long as we have a plan in motion, not just idea, but actually in motion, they're going to be fine. Or DoD employees that are worried and stressed about that, they're going to be fine. What I would be concerned about is in the near future, and I've expressed this too, is because of how Elon Musk and Trump are looking at how this all structures, getting to the point where they're going to individual bases and finding some of these smaller bases that have really no mission but are just like a reservist hub and then like support troop for those reserve units. And basically just liquidating those bases and moving them. Or smaller bases that have very similar or the same missions as other bigger bases that have the facilities or room to build facilities, and liquidating those bases and moving them. That's a possibility. Initial expense is probably going to be a little bit higher, but then the overall operating expense in the long term actually goes down. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Again, this is all speculation. We'll see what happens. I think what they're doing, like I said, I've said it before, I think what they're doing is good. They're just going about it in a very weird way. Well, not even a weird way, just the wrong way of going about it. When people get out, those slots open up, and they're trying to get people in, moving them around. People are always trying to look for promotions or more money, more pay. I can't imagine anywhere in the DOT, because that's the only side I've seen, where there's employees that don't exist. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, other agencies, yeah, that's probably possible. But yeah, no, DoD has their own way of tracking all that stuff. It's highly unlikely. God, my bike is dirty from this morning. I cleaned it yesterday. I even put new ceramic coating material from Amsoil on it. And it's still so dirty. Which, that actually brings up another topic that I'm going to make another video on, probably on the ride home from where I'm going. And I'll probably be, by the time you're watching this, I'll probably be posting that pretty soon too. So keep on the lookout for that. That's actually really, really good video. That's one of the other reasons why I haven't been posting in a while, because I've been working on that. But a little spoiler, your boy is an Amsoil dealer. So, and I'll go into more detail on that in the next video. But I'm actually almost to where I'm going. So I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for joining me. As always, if you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you're a government employee, if you're worried about your position with this new administration, leave a comment. Try not to get nasty political, keep it constructive. Experiences, other stuff, but also keep it operational security friendly. So don't be posting anything detailed. If I see anything that I feel might be detriment to our operational security as a nation, I will delete it instantly. I will not allow that at all on my page. Also, the same goes for any hate comments towards anybody. I will delete those as well. So yeah, well, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something. Well, we're gonna have to see what comes in the next few years. Have a good one.
And here's something else, Bob. I have 8 different bosses right now.
I beg your pardon?
8 bosses.
8?
8, Bob. So that means that when I make a mistake, I have 8 different people coming by to tell me about it. That's my only real motivation, is not to be hassled. That and the fear of losing my job. But you know, Bob, that'll only make someone work just hard enough not to get fired.